Okay, so the first thing you got to do is take off that front cover. That's a 7/16 inch. The top is a 4mm Allen wrench. Remove that. You got to remove the two bolts. Those are also 7/16. That holds the air filter up. Get that out of your way. Then you got to remove the, well, you don't have to remove it, I'm sorry. You're just going to loosen the bolts holding the alternator. You're going to need a 13mm deep well and a 13mm wrench. And then a 10mm will loosen the bolt that allows it to swing back and forth. And once you've done that, out comes the belt. You just got to work it out around the fan. Alright, now the next thing you got to do is get the other belt out. In order to do that, you have to loosen up your pump. You're going to slide the pump back. The bolts on the bottom of the pump are 17mm. You're going to use a short socket. You reach your hand in from the left and your hand in from the right. And the right hand just holds and guides the socket so that you can loosen it up. It can be a little bit tedious the first time, but there's just four. You just loosen them, and then all you have to do is take a 14mm socket, and you can back up the adjuster, and the belt will come loose, and you can get the belt off. Okay, so once you get all that done, reach in there and you can work the belt out. Okay, here I am. I'm going to use a driver to back it up really quickly. That loosens the pump up really quick, and then just work the belt out. There's the belt. Now you're basically just going to reverse what you just did. Now on mine, the reason I'm changing the belts is because since it was new, I've had a problem with it slipping. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to use acetone, and I clean off all the pulleys. And then I also take the compressed air and I blew them all off. There's the compressed air. Anyway, I want to be sure these belts aren't going to slip. So I clean them off all thoroughly. And hopefully that's going to stop it from slipping. I did tighten the belts up when it was new. Didn't help. The belt on the pump was as tight as a guitar string, and it still was slipping. It didn't slip until you got above about 1,000 psi, but it was slipping. So the reason I'm changing the belts today is to eliminate that. I didn't change them because I thought that they needed to be changed. The belts still look fine, but they might have been glazed over from all the slipping, so I just went ahead and replaced them. And you have to take the outside belt off anyway on the fan belt in order to get to the pump. So you might as well just go ahead and replace them both. They're both the same age, so that's what I did. So now I'm working it back on. Obviously you have to put on your pump first, and then put on your fan belt. And then tighten it up. On the alternator, you have to take a wrench, something fairly long, to get that nice and snug. You've got a wider pulley on a couple of spots. Make sure that you're lined up straight. Otherwise you're going to get squealing for sure. Because it does fall into grooves, so you have to make sure that all the grooves are lined up. I used a long wrench, and that seemed to work fairly well. Now here I am, I'm writing down all the different sockets and everything that I used. Not for the video, but for future reference, I put it right in the manual. That way I don't have to worry about remembering. The reason I've got the label maker up there is I label everything since I can't keep track in my head anymore. I make a label of the day I did it and what I did, and I just post it on the side of the water tank. That way I always have a record. I can always just look up there. I can keep track of whatever I need. I just do a quick start, make sure that it's not going to slip. So after I did it, I had to test run it again because that belt was still slipping. I double checked to make sure all the teeth were lined up properly. They were, but it was still slipping. I'm not sure why, but on this particular machine, I'm having a problem with the belts not slipping. I did go out and buy some belt dressing, but I haven't tried it yet. So once you get it as tight as you can, I'm actually at the end of the slide on the alternator, so it's not going to go any tighter. Everything is lined up perfectly. It's on the exact same teeth that it was on before I took it off. You just put it all back together. It's pretty straightforward. So while I have the cover off, go ahead and check the air filter, make sure it's fine. The air filter is nice and clean. Give the machine a start up, raise the pressure. Belt's still squealing a little bit, so I'm gonna readjust that belt. By the time I'm done, the belt's adjusted again on even the pump. I can no longer see any of the slides. They're under the foot of the pump, so I'm assuming it's as tight as it can go. It's really tight. There's virtually no space left on the adjuster. If you reach your finger underneath, you can feel how much the gap is left. The gap is almost gone, so I'm going to leave it there and going to run it for a while and see if it works. If not, then maybe I should go to a slightly shorter belt. I'm not sure what size would be the next one underneath that. On the fan belt, it would be easy enough. You could get one that's shorter, you could still be able to get it on there. But on the pump, you can barely, when that adjusting is off and you've got it slid all the way as you can to the right, you can barely get that belt on there. There's just no extra space. You have to fight to get it on. So I don't know that I'd want to try a shorter belt on the pump. Anyway, hopefully I'm going to get it worked out. If I can't, then I will call Sapphire. Thanks for watching.